Hello friends, welcome to another colour along. Today we are colouring The Butcher Shop, which of course is from Christmas Tiny Homes. It's from the paperback edition, and in the back section we do have a whole Christmas village which you can colour in, cut out and assemble. There's even instructions on how to do that and all sorts in there. So a fabulous little book for Christmas time, especially if you've got kids, or even if you just maybe enjoy colouring and cutting things out and building them like I do. So we have this page, the Butcher Shop page. Now I have printed this out on, this is 250 GSM card. It's like a recycled printing stock, which I had made up from a sample. So I just cut the cover off. It's a bit smaller than A4, but I wanted it to have a little bit of stiffness to it. So what I'm going to do is use that as just a protection for my desk. Now this paper will absorb differently to normal paper. I think it might not blend as well, but I'm still going to try and forge ahead with my markers on this. And I'm going to colour in this Butcher Shop section, being careful not to colour in these sections which are gluable. I've got the roof to colour and this little awning which goes on the front. I also have done, when I first released Christmas Tiny Homes, a full range of videos for every page of this book. So let's launch on in. I'm going to start with probably a shell white. And I just want to see what happens when I get my colour on. So I didn't want it to be too beige. I wanted it to sort of have a bit of earthiness to it though. Well, it doesn't seem to be spreading horrifically. Which is good in some respects, but in other respects, this paper could be a challenge for markers. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and colour all that wall section in this shell white. Alright, I've got my base of shell white. I'm just going to come in over the top of that with a red grey for these bricks. Well, some of them, because some of the others I'm going to come in with this colour called sandy brown. In fact, let's just roll that out across some of these bricks. Back to my red grey. Right, I'm going to do some red grey and some sandy brown. On these guys as well, and I might try and do some blending, but I think I'm going to have to be quick, so I'm just going to jump between these two. And I'm going to do the same thing over on this side. Red brown, red grey, sorry, and sandy brown. That's where I got confused. The colour that looks brown is grey, and the one that looks like sand is brown. I don't understand it, but there it is. I just want to add a little bit more into those. Try and give us some texture in that base. Maybe even in some of these bricks. Or maybe not. Now I'm thinking that a butcher shop that looks like this is going to have some beautiful green windows. And I'm going to lay a base of Viridian. And I think even this door frame will make that some green. And even the door. And this is a colour called Green Shadow. Oh, I'm going to put that on this little Christmas tree, which was one of the reasons I chose the butcher's shop. It had a Christmas tree out the back, or down the side. It also had two cute dogs. So it's my green shadow. And I think this would be tiled. You know, those beautiful green tiles. So I'm going to add a bit of that green in here. What do you think? I think this would be, on top of that brick, would be also that green tile. We do have a climbing vine here. Let's move on to our sausages. I'm going to do them sort of pink. So this is powder pink. I just want to put a highlight in immediately. And I'm coming in with a light rouge. I just want to bring a little bit of shadow. So this is a neutral grey 040. I'll put under there and under here. So I want those to really pop out off the wall. I'll put some shadow under here as well. And under our windows. Alright, this is a little awning that's going to sit on the front of the shop. And it's going to have to be white and red stripes, isn't it? So this is vermilion. And I do want to go down the sides. This is where it's going to fold over. This is a colour called Greyish Cherry. I just don't want to leave it white. Now I do have this vermilion, and what I've got here is some of the most intense most intense garlanding I think I've ever seen. So we'll put that there, and I'm bringing out my Viridian again. Right, now let's look at our roof. I could do this terracotta, but I'm thinking I might do it sort of that green, those green tiles you see, those glazed green tiles. So I'm going to start with that green shadow colour. And just sort of get that going. And then bring in our Viridian. I'm not worrying too much about being in the lines here because I'm going to cut it out. Oh, the freedom. All right, I'm putting away my markers and I'm bringing in my Polychromos. I have here a colour called Permanent Carmine. I just want to build up some colours. And mix my Permanent Carmine with my dark red. This is a colour called Pale Geranium Lake. And I want to just add some real fun to our sausages that are on the walls. I'm going to mix that with our Permanent Carmine. I told you it was the Christmas tree and the dogs that I wanted to colour this page for, but it's really these huge sausages on the side of the wall. Beautiful. All right, I'm going to do that on a subtler way to this little sausage, which we're not really going to see because it's going to be underneath this awning, but it's all about the details, isn't it? Right, well, I've got these colours out. Let's do some of these decorations. Dark red, pale geranium lake. I think even some of that dark red in this textured area here. Right, I'm bringing in my cobalt green and my dark cobalt green just to give our greens a little bit of a run. Well, this is a phthalo green. I'm not convinced about those cobalts. I'm going for a sort of a bluey green to match more with the colour underneath. And this is a chromide oxide green fiery. All right, the phthalo green is going to add some little textures around this, which I'm imagining is one of those tiled strips. And back to our chromide oxide green fiery. Say that quickly. And while I've got that out, I'm going to just play with some of the colours in these tiles. And I just want shadows in there. And I'm going to come in with the phthalo green. And bring some of that phthalo green into our leaves on our vines. And we'll bring some light yellow ochre in, and we'll do this little dog. With light yellow ochre, in this colour called raw umber. And this is the raw umber. Back to the light yellow ochre. And there is a string of gold through this wreath, this very intense wreath. I'm just going to add some little details in. All right, now let's look at the windows. I am tempted to chop them out and have them just clear, put a light inside or something, but for now, let's just colour them. This is frost blue. Oh, no, it's not. What colour is this? My frost blue, what are you doing to me? I think I might have used it as a colourless blender at some stage. It's rebelling. And this is a Helsinki green. All right, let's go Helsinki green, frost blue. And back to our Helsinki green. I'll leave some white strips, but not too many. I'm trying to make it look like reflecting glass. Alright, I'm bringing a white jelly roll in just for some highlights. I really want those highlights to be on this roof. I'll bring back my sandy brown because I noticed that I forgot these bricks, which isn't ideal. And I have a cool grey 051. Let's make this a little grey dog. With white spots. And I think a light hot pink nose. I'm going to go astray on either of these guys. And this one can have a pink collar. Let's give it a dark red collar. Knock back that light pink a bit. What was I even thinking? And this is Payne's Grey. We'll do a Payne's Grey collar on this little guy. And I think these pots should be black. Right, now final touches. I'm just going to bring in this acrylic marker. This is an Arrtx acrylic marker, and it's JP2, which as far as I can tell is a silver. And once again I'm going to strain my eyes to give myself a little silver door handle. And I think this little attachment to the window frame could be silver as well. Alright, what I'm going to do now is remove my sheet, which thankfully I didn't need. Bring out my cutting board and we'll chop this up. So hang on a sec. Alright, let's go. Now I always think it's wise to cut on the outside. So if you slip, you're not slipping into what you've coloured. And I'm just going to cut out all these little pieces. Well, those are little tiny bits to make sure you don't forget. So there's our one piece ready to go. Let's just get our other two bits cut out and then we'll start to fold. Okay, these are all our parts. And if you remember, there is a little thing there that says which parts to glue and which parts to fold. So that dotted line is all the parts we want to fold. I found the easiest way to do that is just to use one of these retractable lead pencils with the lead retracted. It gives you a nice fine tip, and then you can find that dotted line, like there's one there. And just put a score in. That will help you to begin your fold. Voila, you have a roof. We could do the same thing to here. But before we do that, maybe we should, because I've totally missed cutting out this. All right, I've cut those out. Let's bring in our pencil, get our scores happening. I think this is the most fun score down here. I actually think I've got some scores. Even if you're using thinner paper, or you've just cut it out of the book, this will be way easier. But you're still probably advised to score that line before you fold it, just to make sure it goes where you want it to go. There we go, a little awning. Now this is our big behemoth. Let's get this one working. I'm going to open this door, so I'm going to score down that side. And cut down this side. Just the door. Right, I think I got all that. Let's see how we went. We'll fold in our flaps first. All right, it's all coming together. Right, I'm going to try and just pop out this door just to make sure I've got it. All right. Right, I have this glue roller thing, which is, I like, it's neat, nice and neat. If I can just convince it to work. And I'm just putting glue on all these little speckled areas where it's indicated that the glue wants to go. First of all, I'm going to tuck these little flaps under. Glue them to the back of that so that my awning is ready to go on. I might even try and stick it on. There's a line there to put it against. Right. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put glue on all these little areas where it's indicated. Oh. All right, let us start with this edge here. We line this edge up perfectly. I think that is the key. Everything else will fall into place if that is correct. Right, the next thing I'm going to do is this base here. I'm going to put down those two little flaps with glue on them first, and then bring about the connection by folding this down and just nibbing those ends in. We're giving ourselves a nice solid base to land on, and then we've got our flaps for the roof, and I've got these tabs you can fold down to give yourself a peek. Just to stick that roof onto, and we've already glued it so it's ready to go. So we're bringing our roof in, and let's just get that center aligned. And then here, there you have it. A little butcher shop with an awning, two dogs looking in the back window, and a Christmas tree down the side. Very Christmassy butcher shop. Well, always fun to build a house. I really love the thickness of this paper. This is 250 GSM. Man, I hope you have a whole lot of fun putting together this little village, starting with the butcher shop. Oh, I really enjoyed that. As I said, you could cut out these windows and put in little cellophane windows. I'm tempted to print this out again and offset that sausage off the wall. There's so much you could do, but I really think that's enough. Like, that's really sweet. It's a really sweet little butcher shop. Well, guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today, colouring and cutting out the butcher shop. If you don't have Christmas tiny homes and you would like to play along, you can grab the December Colour Club pack from rjhampson.com. Not duck.com, .com. There's no ducks. And yeah, one more to go, and then we're at Christmas, guys, so that's pretty exciting. Thanks so much for watching. For now, I'm going to say goodbye, but I shall no doubt see you in another video. See you later, guys.